Today is Friday, February 3rd, 2023. And in this video, I'm going to read Isaiah chapter 5. And that'll be the bulk of this video. And I guess if something comes to mind, I haven't read this beforehand, so I have no idea what's coming. First, I'll just talk really briefly about health-related stuff, just because somebody asked me a question. So thankfully, I don't really suffer from any bad health problems. Everything that I suffer from, I feel like, is completely manageable, and I feel like there's a lot of people out there that have it physically a lot worse off than I do. So, and like when I talk about the weather thing, and you probably hear I have a stuffed nose right now, recently I don't feel sick at all. It just all feels like a sinus thing, just that my sinuses decided to clog up. Anyways, but I do, when I talk about this health-related stuff that seems to be reactive to the weather, I'm speaking in general, not really about myself that much, but more about people around me that I notice have strong reactions when the weather's changing. Ones that put them out, like they'll get such a bad headache they just have to stay home. Or vertigo is really big these days. Vertigo was not like a thing in the 90s. Maybe fringe, but it's like nowadays I know a ton of people that suffer from vertigo. My wife, she's in her 30s and gets crazy vertigo episodes sometimes these days. And I think that might be from the firmament coming down, affecting the pressure and giving people these, what do you call that? Ear, nose, and throat symptoms. But vertigo is just a strange one. You wouldn't expect so many people to suffer from vertigo, but today it's very common. Okay, yeah, that was mostly it. If I have to blow my nose or something, I'm just gonna drink coffee, read some Isaiah, and see if there's anything that comes to mind today. I also have to do a video on time at a certain point, when I get the time. Okay. Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard and a very fruitful hill. And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem, and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard, that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. This is interesting. This is reminding me of wheat versus tares. And now go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down. And I will lay it waste, it shall not be pruned, nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay a field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. In mine ears, said the Lord of hosts, of a truth many houses shall be desolate, even great and fair, without inhabitant. Interesting. This is hinting at a truth of history, which is people in times past have built grand estates, and they just end up abandoned. And it's just up to somebody to come in and refurbish it and say, yeah, I built that 5 years ago with my horses and my buggies, and it took me 2 years. Yeah, what are you going to say about it? This is a huge part of history, that even great and fair houses will be desolate without inhabitant. Very interesting that topic keeps popping up in Isaiah. Yeah, 10 acres of vineyard shall yield one bath, and the seed of an omer shall yield an ephah. Something about different volumes of goods there, I'm guessing. Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink, that continue until night, till wine inflame them. And the harp and the viol, the tabret, and pipe, and wine are in their feasts, but they regard not the work of the Lord, neither consider the operation of his hands. Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore hell hath enlarged herself, and opened her mouth without measure. And their glory and their multitude, and their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it. Interesting use of the word pomp here, because this reminds me of pomp and circumstance, and all of the stuff these Bafo people do. It's all much ado about nothing. They like putting on grand displays, and that's the kind of thing they're into. And the mean man shall be brought down, and the mighty man shall be humbled, and the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled. But the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness. Then shall the lambs feed after their manner, and the waste places of the fat ones shall strangers eat. Woe unto them that draw iniquity with cords of vanity, and sin as it were with a cart rope. That say, let him make speed and hasten his work, that we may see it, and let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw nigh and come, that we may know it. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Wow, that is a Bible verse for the ages, for today. This is, I think, why they're obsessed with black-white duality symbolism. I believe that this verse right here is the whole idea of, why they're obsessed with the black and white, because they have inverted this place. Man has become woman. Woman has become man. They parade around evil as if it's the good thing. This is the MO of Satan. So I'll read it again. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward, and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Therefore, as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Therefore is the anger of the Lord kindled against his people, and he hath stretched forth his hand against them, and hath smitten them, and the hills did tremble, and their carcasses were torn in the midst of the streets. For all his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. So notice the mercy of God is talked about here, and the Old Testament God did have more displays of righteous anger than what we see today. And I just think of it as the times were just so different. Nowadays, it's just there's tons of evil upon the earth. And God doesn't really need to come down and smite people anymore, because there's just so much evil on the earth anyways, that God just needs to help his people to navigate through this evil system. But anyways, for all his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. And verse 24 gives thought of end times prophecy and the harvest and things being burnt. So Isaiah knew what he was talking about. Okay, I'll just finish up this chapter. And he will lift up an ensign to the nations from far, and will hiss unto them from the end of the earth. And behold, they shall come with speed swiftly. None shall be weary nor stumble among them. None shall slumber nor sleep. Neither shall the girdle of the loins be loosed, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken, whose arrows are sharp, and all their bows bent. Their horses' hooves shall be counted like flint, and their wheels like a whirlwind. Their roaring shall be like a lion. They shall roar like young lions. Yea, they shall roar, and lay hold of the prey, and shall carry it away safe, and none shall devour it. And in that day they shall roar against them like the roaring of the sea, And if one look unto the land, behold darkness and sorrow, and the light is darkened in the heavens thereof. Hope you enjoyed this reading of Isaiah 5, and I'll continue reading from this book. God bless everyone.